Hallelujah. Hallelujah bikocho, Hallelujah birikia uzo, Hallelujah bigvurotav, Hallelujah kerov gudlo, Hallelujah beteika shofar, Hallelujah b'nevel v'chino, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah b'tof u'machol, Hallelujah b'minim ve'ugal, Hallelujah b'tziltzilei shaman, Hallelujah b'tziltzilei truah, kol hanshama tehalleluya.
So what's new?
Not much.
Our cantor. Our cantor is newly permanent. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I love the description of light. And that is indeed what you bring us, one of the many gifts. And we should celebrate the lights of Shabbat. If you have candles near where you are, it's time to light them as Hank lights them here in the sanctuary.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
find a way to reach out to someone you care about, to someone who would appreciate hearing from you, a Shabbat Shalom. Use a device near you, or if there's an actual human being near you, give them a hug and a Shabbat Shalom wish. And after we all have the chance to do that together, then we can sing Lecha Dodi together on page 10.
Lecha Dodi Likerot Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Kerat Kalo B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'diburecha Hishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad Shemu l'tiferet v'l'mitila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelecha Ki hi mekor ha'beracha Merosh mikedem nesuka Sof ma'aseh v'machshavat Techila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Hit'oreri, hit'oreri Ki va'orech kumi ori Ori, ori, shir dabei Kevod Adonai, alayich lira Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלתו אמוני עם סגולה לא יכלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Ay la 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 la. Ay la 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 la. Ay la 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 la. Ay la la la. Ay la 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 la. Lekadoli Nikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat.
page 15, we find the words of Chatzi Kaddish together.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בלמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב וימרו. אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ביעלמה וימרו. אמן. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach
On page 18, together, we are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we're hidden from ourselves. We're touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we're too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We're urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Blessed are you who loves your people Israel.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, והם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We are seated. This Shabbat is the Shabbat of song, Shabbat Shirah, and this year, Kol Ami has so many more reasons to sing on Shabbat Shirah. Page 21, Mi Chamocha, is taken from the Song of the Sea, the Torah reading for this Shabbat, and the women went out with their timbrels, dancing and singing after Miriam. Page 21.
Lay 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh Torah tehilot osef eleh Torah tehilot osef eleh מלכותך רעובניך חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זה אלינו ויאמרו זה אלינו ויאמרו אדוני אלוהינו לעולם ועד אדוני אלוהינו לעולם ועד lay 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 and the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced the whole night long. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced the whole night long.
Someday, not too far in the distant future, we hope to be dancing for real, together, to this music. Now we rise wherever we are for the Amidah, turning to page 23.
Ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו אל אישי העפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך מלך ממית, ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Exactly 1 year ago, I shared a recital with my father on this very bima. We offered Jewish liturgical music, along with a few secular pieces as well. It was a most enjoyable evening with a most welcoming, vibrant congregation. I remember saying to myself, must be a cool place to work. Kind of amazing how things unfolded after that. The literal meaning of the word Torah is teaching or instruction. The Torah that I feel most passionate about as your cantor is the Torah of Jewish music. To a land that I will show you, Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know, Lechilach, on your journey I will bless you, you shall be a blessing. Shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing, Lechilach, Lechilach, and I shall make your name great, Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi לשמחת חיים, לשמחת חיים, לשמחת חיים, לחילה. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. And you shall be a blessing. Lechila. Jewish music has taken on a wide variety of shapes throughout history. I grew up in a household where Eastern European cantorial music, otherwise known as chazanut or chazonis, served as the host of our Jewish musical environment. Current Jewish musical trends weren't excluded. In fact, they were celebrated. But those sounds served as a guest at our table, with cantorial recitative, the ornate traditional interpretations of our prayers in the driver's seat. When Debbie Friedman hit the scene, it's no stretch to say that a revolution occurred in the Jewish world. While many congregants flocked to synagogue to hear our ancient Hebrew text interpreted with operatic gusto and old-fashioned cantorial expression, another group of Jews in the pews, many of whom were not regular readers of Hebrew and on the younger side, were left feeling alienated. Debbie zeroed in on that with laser focus, incorporating English text into her folk-inspired, relatable musical flavor. Take Lechilach, a staple of the B'nai Mitzvah experience at Kol Ami. Debbie took the Torah portion Lech Lecha and created her own midrash, or teaching, on the Parsha. God tells Abraham to leave everything he knows and journey to a land which God would show him. Through her soulful melody, Debbie taps into the emotions of that moment so that we 21st century Jews can feel connected to our ancestors. She even took the additional step of including the female voice through the use of feminine verb forms, ensuring that an often left-out segment of the Jewish community became an authentic part of the story. Predictably, many in classical reform and traditional conservative circles wrote off Debbie's work as camp music, not suited for the bima. My father, who has been at the forefront of preserving our ancient Jewish musical heritage, saw things a bit differently. While he too feared that her influence would marginalize traditional cantorial music on the bima, he realized immediately that her musical message demanded a seat at the table. He invited Debbie to perform at a cantors convention in the early 1980s, where virtually the entire conservative movement was stuffed into a Catskills hotel social hall, the Concord, I believe, to see what all the fuss was about. My father took her trembling hand as some were heard hissing and jeering at the sight of her. Once she finished singing her soulful setting of Vishamru, Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat et ha-Shabbat, an entire cantorial movement was silenced. Debbie was a force. Nothing would stop it. It's hard to imagine that we've reached the occasion of Debbie's 10th Yortzeit. She will continue to live on as one of the great composers and communicators of Jewish music. Full disclosure, my father's love of chazanut absolutely passed on to me.
This grand, majestic art form is uniquely Jewish in its sound and feel. There's really nothing else on earth quite like it, and it belongs to us. That said, my own Jewish musical identity tends to throw out the whole seat at the table concept. There was a time in congregational life when Chazanut reigned supreme. That time has passed. The new wave, led by Debbie Friedman and others, made an invaluable impact on our services, but Jewish music is never set in stone. Jewish music is constantly evolving. Whatever form of Jewish music serves as a host for this era will one day serve as a guest to a new host. And too much of any one thing is, well, too much. Capitalizing on the path Debbie paved, we have a new generation of song leaders and composers who have put their own collective spin on an old sound. The centuries-old Hasidic nigun is back in style. An even newer wave of Jewish renewal has swept congregational life in America. This practice seeks to refresh modern Judaism using ancient traditions of musical meditation and mysticism. No group encapsulates more clearly the effectiveness of giving ancient Jewish prayers a happening contemporary sound better than Nava Tehillah. Based in Jerusalem, they offer Jewish music that's relatable, meditative, and uplifting. A favorite of mine is their Into the West nigun, which amazingly combines the hundreds of years old Hasidic nigun with an American Western sound. Picture Clint Eastwood headed into town on his bright brown horse to settle a score. But if you allow the nigun to settle in, it becomes a Jewishly engaging introduction to Kabbalat Shabbat. The text of the Vishamru prayer serves as a reminder of our covenant with God to observe the Sabbath. Now, each of us has our own way of finding meaning in Shabbat. When it comes to my own family, my mother had a conservative upbringing and became a cantor in the Reform movement. My father had a modern Orthodox upbringing, became a cantor in the conservative movement. My wife had a traditional Orthodox Reform mashpit upbringing and became a cantor in the Reform movement. As far as observance goes, I've seen it all. Synagogue, no synagogue, round-the-clock observance, little to no observance, Shabbat yoga, Kiddush club, Shabbos dinner with the Mets playing in the background. Take your pick. I think of Vishamru as a celebration of creation and each of our own individual paths toward observance. I'd like to offer a special take on the Vishamru prayer that fuses Eastern European cantorial chazanut with a flavorful, powerful, rock-styled refrain that any congregation can participate in at full force. I'm waiting for you. This specialized arrangement of a quintessential congregational melody exemplifies my own cantorial mission, which is to bring you in with what's familiar and accessible while reminding you of the musical tradition that got us here. Vishomeru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם, לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל הייתי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי
ושמנו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, את תורות הברית עולם. ושמנו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית
It's not lost on me the chance that you're taking on me as your cantor, especially during these uncertain, perilous times. In Parshat Beshalach, the Israelites take a leap of faith that Moses, a reluctant, uncertain messenger in his own right, is up to the challenge, and that God will protect them on their way out of Egypt. In the 11th hour, when Pharaoh breaks his promise to free the slaves and sends his army after them, the Israelites cry out to Moses that he has brought them into the wilderness to be slaughtered. The Israelites lose their faith before regaining it once again when God splits open the Red Sea for them to cross. I speak to you as the broader synagogue community is on its own journey through the wilderness. Yes, we can see some light starting to appear, but real fears remain as we soldier through this dark winter. When I sang for you in this sanctuary 1 year ago, Kol Ami was unmasked and brimming with color and energy. For 7 months, I've served as cantor to a Kol Ami that, along with the rest of the congregational world, is coping with our new normal. I have a lot to learn about the Kol Ami of the past, and even more to discover with you about the Kol Ami to come. But here in this moment, I can only hope that I am worthy of being your spiritual guide as we search for the vibrancy of our traditions to return, while looking ahead at how Jewish life can feel new and meaningful. That fusion speaks to who I am as a spiritual musical leader. I hope you know how grateful I am to be given this chance to join you and to help guide you. We began with Debbie Friedman's classic journey song, Lechi Lach. We're going to end with Debbie's lesser-known, hauntingly beautiful take on our prayer for peace. This arrangement acknowledges the difficult path ahead while being entirely full of hope. I'd like to call up my wife, cantor Amanda Kleinman, to join me. Hi, Manny. As we sing our song of peace. As we journey together, I hope you'll find along with me that Jewish music, in all of its forms, can guide us through any hardship and across any sea.
Oh, say shalom, bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol
allowing the music of healing to permeate our hearts and our souls. Wherever we are, we name aloud or in our hearts those in need of healing. We continue on page 33 with Debbie's Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imoteinu mekor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We rise in the place where spirit rises. Aleinu, page 36.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Al Kain Nekaveh, therefore we must and we do hope.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We are seated as we invite Hank Ruda, Kol Ami's president, for Shabbat greetings and announcements.
Thank you, Alex, as always. By the way, you guys were phenomenal tonight. And I didn't say that just to get you to do that again. It is such a pleasure to see all of you earlier on the Zoom, so I could actually see your faces. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Thank you for joining us at the special meeting of the congregation at 6 o'clock. I hope most of you were there, where we had the absolute pleasure and honor to elect Daniel Mendelson as the next cantor of Congregation Kol Ami. You can't even see all the applause that's going on here in the sanctuary. Amanda, that was spectacular. Thank you so much for gracing us with your beauty and your presence and that spectacular voice. And thank you for lending us your husband every once in a while. We promise to give him back sometimes. Danny, on behalf of the entire congregation, welcome. We already adore you. We cannot wait to see what comes next. We hope to be together in safety and in peace. You are so welcome to be part of our community. Thank you. Just a few minutes, I hope that all of you will join us on Zoom for another one of our absolutely fantastic Shabbat Around the Table programs. This one is going to be entitled The Rabbi's Gambit. The evening features Rabbi Leonid Feldman, who will share with us how he, a child chess prodigy in the former Soviet Union, moved from chess competition to imprisonment to resistance to becoming a rabbi. That will start, sure, right after services end, I think, right? This coming Sunday will be the first of our new men's study group. The topics this time around will be ethical masculinity, discussing and celebrating being a Jewish man in today's world. And the first one is, as I said, this Sunday at 7:45 on Zoom. And next weekend is a special treat. It's our first Scholar in Residence weekend of 2021. Join us on next Friday night, February 5th, for an around-the-table discussion with Rabbi Mark Samuth on the question of whether God is transgender. Then on Saturday morning, Rabbi Samuth will lead our study session. The topic is God's dual-gendered name in Torah portion Yitro and beyond. Then, because we keep wanting to learn, starting on Saturday, February 13th, Dr. Ellen Umansky. And if you've never studied with Dr. Umansky, you need to. It is absolutely a pleasure. We'll be leading a 3-part discussion on the fight for women's suffrage. This course marks the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. And Rabbi Shira's very favorite holiday is coming up. Purim is right around the corner. Sisterhood is once again sponsoring the Purim baskets and greetings. The deadline is approaching, so please make sure you get it in. It's especially important this year that we all reach out to each other in this community. And watch your inbox for more details on all the great activities that Jess, the clergy, and the staff have come up with. You're going to see them for both in person and virtually. And looking even further ahead, I want you to save the date, Thursday, April 29th. Write it down, Thursday, April 29th, for our annual gala. This year we'll be planning a big night in to fund our future. The evening is going to feature a mentalist, magician, and, Mark, I think your wife Mary is responsible, some of Broadway's best performers. Please make sure you join us. No, Alex, it's not 24 hours, a lot less this time. Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful week.
With full hearts, hearts of gratitude, we name those who've been part of our lives, whose love and memory continue to be part of our lives. We invite you to stand at the name of a loved one if you wish, and to remain standing until we're all standing with you. This Shabbat follows the recent deaths of George Axt, Ted Adler, Marvin William Norton, Betty Cracker, and Esther Marcus. If you are in a year of loss and wish to stand, we would like to hold you within our embrace. This Shabbat marks the yortzites of Shelley Adler, Raymond Bellow, David Brooks, Melanie Rose Chait, Esther Edelstein, Ruth Elcott, Alan Epsteiner, Robert Frost, Shirley Greshow Forster, Beatrice Frank, Jack Frank, Arnold Friedman, Debbie Friedman, Jean Goldstein, Louis Goldstein, Jim Gordon, Robert Groban, Gay Rose Haskell, Sidney Hecht, Max Hellman, Harry Huberman, Bertram Klein, Eleanor Kopp, Dana Kraus, Holly Lerner, Leon Litvin, June McCormick, Elizabeth Paley, Esther Pushkin, Nora Schick, Jeffrey Schribman, Rose Schwartz, Herbert Schwarz, Sadie Seaman, H. Helmut Sternberg, Anita Sussman, Rhonda Wack, Arnold Ward, Marilyn Ward, Ronald Weiss, Edward Winnick. Naming these aloud and naming others in our hearts, we stand together, turning to page 39, connecting ourselves to the eternal presence through the words of the Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shamei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yeruteh ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru. Amen. Yehei shamei Rabbah mevarach la'olam ula'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei Jekucha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו Amen.
Some of you have been drinking all through the service, but in case you haven't yet, please pour yourself a glass of something. And here at Kol Ami, we're drinking to celebrate this wonderful first night, the election of Danny Mendelson as our cantor, and with glasses of bubbly.
Let me just say briefly, Oren Nyman on guitar, Mark Faniff, saxophone, clarinet, Nadav Snierzelnicker on drums, led by the amazing Alex Hopkins, our music director, on piano. Thank you so much, my friends. Alex, thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemahasei v'reshit. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. ושבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
I invite you to put out your arms and say after me, spreading your energy to all the places it needs to go. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you.
May God bless you and watch over you.
Ya'er Adonai
Ya'er Adonai
panav elecha
panav elecha
v'yichuneka.
v'yichuneka.
May the light of God's grace shine on you.
May the light of God's grace shine on you.
Yisa Adonai
Sa Adonai
panav elecha
panav elecha
v'yasem lecha shalom.
yasem lecha shalom.
May God be with you
May God be with you
and bless you with peace.
and bless you with peace. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashoret, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amloch, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא מלכוני לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי העליון מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא זכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי העליון מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shabbat shalom. Thank you.